4 years have passed since the mortal races banded together and stood united against the might of the Burning Legion. Though Azeroth was saved, the tenuous pact between the Horde and the Alliance has all but evaporated.
Hey everyone, Frost here. Welcome back to a new classic WoW video. Lately the channel has grown significantly, and I couldn't help notice the amount of people that never played vanilla WoW and yet they're still interested in trying it out, wondering what this movement regarding classic servers is all about. Today our installment is dedicated to new players, returning players from the original iteration of the game, or even to veteran vanilla advocates with hope in mind to touch on some of the nostalgic feelings and maybe provide a bit of entertainment. There's no doubt in my mind that classic WoW will attract large numbers of players. Here are 15 things to expect if you never played vanilla World of Warcraft.
The drums of war thunder once again.
Classic WoW is a real MMORPG, many men online role-playing as girls. The idea of community is deeply rooted into the core gameplay. That means you will have to do things that require the aid of other people. You have to socialize, form guilds, ask in chat, or just ask nearby players. There are no buttons for group quests, dungeons, or raids. The way you ask is important, but more important is the way you behave around the players you group up with. Many repeated successful and fun experiences will lead to a reputation attached to your name, which gets us to our second point. Your reputation matters. Player's reputation means something, guild reputation means even more. If you trash talk, act like a jerk, leave groups prior to completion, ninja loot, or do bad stuff in general, people will report you. And not to Almighty Blizzard, but to your guildmaster, to their guild, general chat, forums, and so on. All this leading to your name ending in many blacklists, and as you might figure, it's very hard to complete stuff in classic WoW when half of server has your name on their ignore list. Some guilds have rules regarding bad behavior, and if you fail to follow the lines, you might end up getting kicked from your own guild. Needless to say, Classic will need their black sheeps. Don't let these lines stop you from occupying that position. Slower paced combat. Back in 2005, World of Warcraft was considered a streamlined, fast-paced MMO. Compared to some titles like EverQuest or Ultima Online, this was very true. But in the past 15 years, the meta surrounding MMORPGs has changed so much that vanilla became a somehow hardcore, slow-paced game, at least compared to the titles we have today. In Classic, the combat pace is very slow, especially at low level. Pulling 2 or 3 mobs means certain death. Movement speed is slower, and having to walk all the way to level 40 and beyond for some players will not speed things up. Some classes have to sit and drink after every pull, and it takes in general 20 to 60 seconds to kill a mob, depending on your gear and level. As you already know, there are no heirlooms to boost you up. If you join Classic after playing a modern MMO, it will take a while to get accustomed or reaccustomed to the slower pace. No worries, this happens very fast. Gold has value. Even 1 gold is a lot of money to a player below level 20. Most people would tell you to avoid all non-essential expenses and only purchase the abilities you need. Although managing your gold in Classic is a crucial skill. Some people might choose to purchase solid upgrades from auction house to speed up their grinding process. Some might level engineering to give them that extra edge in PvP, and some might level up professions to aid their friends and guildmates on the leveling journey and beyond. The point is, there's no set path for spending your gold. Spend it on what gives you the most amount of fun and not on what people tell you to spend it on. The disjointed nature of the leveling process. Just like the disjointed nature of this clip, Classic WoW will not provide a set path or plan for you to follow in order to reach max level. No teleporting to location, and definitely no smooth transition from zone to zone. Leveling zones are very out of order, jumping all over. You will often find people asking in general or guild chat, "Does anyone know where should I go at this level?" Some people will follow leveling guides and some will take their chances. One thing is for sure, you will have to do a lot of traveling from continent to continent in order to find a suited place for your needs. Long quest chains will send you all over the world, sometimes to places where mobs will be 1 to 5 levels above yours. If you're unsure where to go or what to do, don't be shy and ask the question. The Classic community will be more than happy to help you out. Corpse Run and Spirit Healer. Get ready to die a lot, even more so if you play on a PvP server. Getting ganked is part of the game, but it makes leveling in certain zones very difficult and slow. Learn your class well and make sure you have ways to survive, such as carrying potions, having macros for gear swap, maybe engineering for that extra edge, and duo leveling will help a lot in this context. Train to keep calm, because sometimes these ways to survive will simply not work. The opposing factions might occupy a small town or quest hub for a whole day. Level 60 undead rogues will make innkeeper at Darkshire or Redridge Mountains. In this case, just move to a different area or join a dungeon group if you want to avoid breaking your monitor or keyboard. Group quest difficulty. If a quest says group, you will actually need a group. Very few group quests can be completed without help. Some of you might be familiar with the idea of being the powerful hero able to solo everything in an MMO. In Classic, you're just a common casualty trying to make its way to greatness. And the road to greatness is paved with many dangers and obstacles. Make sure to make some friends or else you just won't make it. Most elite mobs will hit very hard, have stuns, fear mechanics, summon pets, or just surrounded by nearby mobs. Use that good reputation to politely ask for help and consider giving someone else a hand even if you don't have the quest. Saving a fellow player from a certain death or throwing some random buffs to passing by adventurers will go a long way and might even come back to you when you need it the most. The rarity of items is on point. Epics are epic, it takes a lot of time to acquire them and actually mean something. Rares are actually rare, there's huge amount of excitement the first time you find a blue item in a dungeon or simply by grinding. In Classic, almost every update will count towards your progression, and even common items like scouting shoulders will provide a sense of accomplishment. There are no shortcuts, you cannot buy your way to the top, you have to take the test of strength in this truly immersive and dangerous world. With no extra costumes or transmog systems, whenever you'll see a player in full tier epic set or wielding a legendary weapon, you'll know that they worked their ass off to obtain them. There's no instant gratification in vanilla, and not everyone will achieve greatness, not everyone will complete the content or acquire rank 14. But being part of this magical world seems to be more than enough to provide amounts of fun that other games simply cannot match. Epics might not look great or match. Speaking of gear, expectations might not meet reality, at least in terms of looks. Don't get too consumed about it if your pink shoes do not match your legendary orange weapon, because the Classic community usually sees beauty where others see ugly. The fashion and trends are just unconventional. It is normal to see paladins and shamans wearing a blue cloth dress and watermelon leather helm. The point is that this is considered normal. Pick a faction and stick with it. In Classic, you can only create characters of one faction on the server you're playing. If you choose Horde, for example, you won't be allowed to create an alliance character. This is because the hate for the opposing faction is so huge due to the tensions and conflicts present on the leveling journey. Guilds hate each other to a point where they try to sabotage the raids by planning and waiting for them at Blackrock Mountain in order to kill them and take their world buffs. This hate grows stronger while hunting the world bosses and making enemies on battlegrounds. Classic WoW does not agree with the sentence "I like both factions." Do yourself a favor and join the hate. And if you really love both factions, make sure you don't tell anyone about that. Inventory management. The inventory bags in Classic WoW are not that big, with some classes having to waste one slot for arrows and soul shards, leaving you with 60 to 80 slots to carry a variety of items: healing, DPS and tanking gear, or some classes all three, resistance gear, secondary trinkets, profession tools, gadgets, grenades, quest items and many more. Being an old school MMO, inventory management is considered a skill. I've been asked many times on my streams what kind of add-on you use to organize your inventory, and the only tool required is the mouse. Making decisions on what items you should carry with you on a daily basis, making sure you leave enough space to grind valuable items and not only. It's not an easy task, but there's a reason why 18 slot bags are so expensive. Keys and attunements. Some of the dungeons require keys or scepters in order to be opened or create custom runs. Of course, there are tools and classes that can open these doors, but more often you'll find that people do not have the explosive charges or the lockpicking skill required to do so. Some keys are easy to acquire, such as the Scarlet Key, which can be looted from a chest in the Scarlet Library, and others are harder to acquire, such as Skullman's Key, requiring a long chain quest to complete. Or the UBRS key, which requires heavy farming of the lower Blackrock Spire in order to obtain 3 rare gems. But having this key will usually pay off, as you will be able to charge fees in order to open the gate for players. Also, your chances to get invited in these groups will jump to 100%. Once you get towards endgame, you cannot just join a raid. An attunement is needed in order to gain access to major raids. Molten Core has a quest that sends you to the deepest parts of Blackrock Depths, and other raids such as Onyxia involves a long story quest chain that is different for both Alliance and Horde. A quest chain that might take a whole day to complete and requires help from your guild. Do not worry, this is usually an enjoyable experience. No faceroll content. Well, at least for 5-man dungeons. Here you're required to contribute beyond presence. Everyone needs to play their part for a dungeon run to be successful. Tanks must mitigate the damage and always keep aggro on themselves. Healers need to keep the party alive and do minimal CC. DPS must always pool their numbers in order to prevent the healer going out of mana. Some classes like mages are preferred over others due to their insane crowd control abilities like Ship, slowing enemies, freezing them into place, providing refreshments and portals for the party. But in my experience, every class brings benefits to a party. Rogues, for example, are not that desired, but a good combat rogue could speed up the dungeon by at least 20% due to the insane DPS early on. Also, with lockpicking he could open doors, gouging kidney shot to protect the healer if he aggros, blind the mob for extra CC, and even minimal tanking in the case the actual tank dies. We could probably write a wall of text for each individual class and what they can bring to team play. The point is, you must learn and master your class even for mundane content. Travel time. There are no mounts until level 40, and probably I'm repeating myself here. In Classic, not every zone has convenient flight masters. A lot of zones have you travel a long distance just for one objective, or make you travel to the other side of Azeroth just to collect a bottle of something. Be prepared to travel a lot, and not only on the leveling process. This keeps going even at level 60. People developed strategies in setting hearthstones, using engineering transporters, and paying mages for portals. Traveling is very important in classic WoW, starting with the epic mount that can help you pick herbs and ores faster, reach that world boss before other guilds, and maybe cap the blacksmith in Rarity Basin first. Setting up a plan of continental travel is important, as this will help you to get in time for raids, arrive early at a dungeon, or save your friends from being corpse camped. If by any chance you cannot handle traveling for any reasons, make friends with warlocks and mages. They can both provide methods of transport when needed the most. Leveling is harder. If a zone says level 35 to 45, it does not mean you can start leveling in that zone and be level 45 when you have done all the quests. It's more likely that you'll gain 2 to 3 levels before you move on to the next zone with a similar level range. Whenever you're stuck and do not know where to go, you could join a dungeon group and pick all the quests associated with that instance. This will provide you with at least one level, and some dungeons like BRD have many quests that provide both experience and great rewards. Another alternative would be to grind mobs for 1 or 2 levels. Check my gold grinding guides, as they provide grind locations for most level ranges. Leveling is especially harder on a PvP server due to people finding fun in corpse camping lower level players. If this happens, make sure you move to a different location ASAP. These are 15 things to expect in classic WoW. Usually the videos on this channel are more suited for players that already play World of Warcraft. Today I wanted to try something different for the upcoming new players. Normally, my other videos get like 1000 likes in the first 48 hours. If this clip manages to get 3000 likes in the first week, I'm going to make a part 2 follow-up. If you have ideas about things to expect in classic WoW floating through your mind, please make them known in the comments down below, as I might feature them in the next video. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay frosty.